This would be what is left of the pipe trailer Dad built many years ago. I got a little work to do before I start. Get that back where it belongs and weld it in. I think it's still stout enough to work for some support. I hope it is. And see if I can't get some video on the way. But for right now, that's what I'll show you. Okay, I ain't showing no welding yet. I'll just show the ugly finished product. I'm used to welding on old rusty stuff. No, I don't always clean it up. What's there is way more than good enough to support this. I ended up cheating a little bit. I snuck down into that spring hanger. We're going to assume it's welded onto the axle solid enough to hold the weight. And then braced it back to the tongue brace, and I don't know, it's more braced to the axle right there, which is fine. That'll hold it. The little pieces, they were all off the U-bolts that were hanging on this thing. If memory serves, part of what Dad did was he had a block of wood shoved in and had stuff bolted on with it and welded on. So I don't know why he did it that way. It just leaves places for things to move wrong. But uprights are here. They happen to be, I think, the very last two stakes off of side rack extensions that we had off an old truck years ago. The bottom end's beveled and capped, and I just cut a hole in it so they'll drain and stuck it down. Worked out about right. I just got to find something to go across that with, and I'll go across there and get it braced onto the tongue. And if you notice down there, the tongue's got a wow to it. That is from putting it on the crossbar instead of the drawbar and turning too sharp with a load on it. No, I didn't do that. That happened when I was, I don't know, probably 10 years old. I was one of the poor guys setting the pipe on or off, whichever way it was going. And I think Mom might have been driving it, and we were kind of pushing her to go clear to the very end, and she was up to the fence when she turned. So obviously that didn't do any good. I'm still contemplating how to straighten that. That might be a chain and a come along thing, or maybe a chain and a porta power. I know it'll straighten. I'm not real worried about it, but if it is straight, it'll help. And I know that tongue brace isn't straight. It's been picked up and moved around and tweaked, but it appears that structurally it is all still there after I re-welded it to the axle. I say, now I got to find something to go across top. Keep in mind, this is a big money project, so whatever scrap I can find is what I'm going to use. So I just got to figure out where I got some. I've got a rack that came off the box that's on my service truck. It's sitting outside. I'm going to probably end up using part of it. I just need the material. I've got another one that came off another service truck I put together years ago, but I already kind of reconfigured it to make a shelf for storing loader buckets. I just never did get it. Well, I never got a wall cleared to mount it to. But somewhere over in this pile of good stuff, I'm hoping to find enough. Otherwise, I got some other stuff I can go grab. But that's what I'm shooting for, because I really don't have anything in here anymore. That's one of those things that if I restocked this right now, I mean, it's cheaper to go buy a brand new tractor than to keep what we used to have in here. So I'll get some more. For now, there you go. Hey, still working on it. Done a few other things too. This cross piece is on. I cheated. One of those U-bolts worked really good right there. And due to the shape of that kind of helps stiffen that sideways too. Not a lot, but a little. I might put a brace in it. Let me play with the zoom here. There's a cross brace right there. And if you look at that rack out there, you'll see that there's no more. Well, there is still. The very front piece that went over the cab is still on there. I got 3 pieces there I can still get off and use for what I'm doing. The rest of it is stacked up right there. And yes, my dog's guarding the saw. Wheels down too low to get through it now, so I got to change wheels. Gives me a chance to take a break. And if you look out, being I'm zoomed in, there is the ancient John Deere disc. I can't even tell you what model it is. I was probably 6 or 7 years old when Dad picked that up at a dairy auction. The old farts retired, and before they passed away, that's unusual, sold all their stuff. He told a friend of ours, he says, hey, if you can get that thing for me, if we had someplace else we had to be, and he said, if you can get that for me, I'll buy you dinner in town tomorrow night. After we got home, Dad got a phone call, and it was Al saying, hey, you owe me $300 and a dinner. And Dad thought he was kidding, because $300 back then, totally expected it to go for $1,000 or $1,200. I mean, this is back in the early 70s, and it was still actually really something back then. And no, nobody wanted it. One other guy bid, and the other guy may have just been there to make sure there was more than one bid. I don't know. So for $300 and a dinner for him and his wife, Dad got a disc. That's still got the old cast bearings and everything. That's the one we use on the pastures when we have to, because it doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, it actually does a fair job. We used it a few years ago going over some stuff before we planted. The cover crop disc was just way too much for it. Couldn't even carry it enough. So daughter number 1, when she was, I don't know, 10 or 12 years old, she got to sit in that tractor and drag that disc around the field ahead of me when I was planting. But anyway, I know this thing's going to be really flimsy when we're done. Right now, both cross pieces are more or less level with the world. The other ones, well, I laid the other one on this one, but I didn't realize this one was actually the top off an old truck tailgate. And by the time I got it laying right, this end bows up just a touch. So when I laid that one on it to weld it on here, and I'm sure if I zoom back in and hold steady, you can see the weld right in the center of the screen. If you look real close, you can tell the right side of that bows up a little bit. But where it's on the frame in the middle, it is right on level. So that's what I'm shooting for. And I know a couple of you wanted to see a welding video. I'll see if I can't get to that. I'm figuring out where I'm going to lay these other pieces to make one out of them. I might clean the top of that tongue up, run a grinder over that, and then I got a good flat spot to lay them. So I might see if I can't figure out how to sit this thing in my little phone holding tripod and figure out if I can make that happen. That's kind of my plan today anyway. Today or tomorrow, sometime. So, and this is Wednesday, in case anybody wanted to know. Wednesday must be the 24th of September. Yeehaw. Almost the end of September. We should be planting, but I got a couple other things holding me up on that. I wish we had straw bale too, but I think it's going to be a little too far gone by the time it dries enough to do anything. It was supposed to rain today, and it hasn't yet. But yesterday we had sprinkles early in the morning, and then it fogged in so much that it may as well rain 2 inches. It was so wet. So tomorrow's supposed to be nice. I got to get some soil samples on a couple places before we can do anything, and that's kind of out of my control. I'm stuck waiting for field man on that. I'm hoping he's going to be fairly quick on it. But anyway, there'll be more. Okay, somebody asked for it. We'll see if I can weld on camera. You're going to get to see me. What was I thinking? You're just going to see a nice bright spot. That's all it's going to be. video goes too long. So we'll see. Only straight edge I got, so that's what I'm using. All that get around. By the way, that smoke stinks. That's for you. Don't breathe it. And the flames kind of screw up a auto darkening helmet. That's why I had to keep smashing the flames. So there, you got a quick welding job. I cut the front off. The long one here is just laying there. It's pieced together. It needs another 10 feet off the back. I don't know if I got the stuff to do it. I still got some new up there. I might have to break into it. I really don't want to. But this is it for now. I'll throw the few together I got and stick them up tonight, and maybe somebody will get blinded by the light. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, you know. I always get stuck taking scrap metal and making something out of it. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So till next time. Bye.